Rimuru and Ultima goes to One Piece, Rimuru and Ultima x One Piece, by Veldanava-God. Chapter 22. Clash of Titans. Rimuru and Ultima advance through the battlefield of Marineford, their presence sending waves of terror through the ranks of Whitebeard's pirates. Every step they took was marked by destruction. Pirates who dared to cross their path were swatted away like insects, their combined haki turning the tide of battle wherever they moved. With each swipe, each blow, the two Shichibukai inched closer to their ultimate goal. The world's strongest man, Whitebeard. How much longer until we reach him? Ultima asserted, her voice laced with impatience as she easily sidestepped an attack from a pirate who immediately collapsed under the weight of her conqueror's haki. Rimuru grinned. Just a little more, we can already see him. Through the chaos, the towering figure of Edward Newgate, Whitebeard himself, loomed on the horizon. Even from this distance, Rimuru could feel the immense pressure of his presence. A living legend who stood against the world. Pirates rallied around him, forming a protective wall to stop anyone who dared approach. But to Rimuru and Ultima, this was nothing more than a minor inconvenience. Whitebeard, from his position on the front lines, observed the battlefield calmly, his deep eyes taking in everything. He saw them, the two Shichibukai cutting through his men like a hot knife through butter. His frown deepened. Shichibukai, he asserted under his breath, tightening his grip on his massive Basento. He could feel their strength, feel the ominous aura surrounding them. This wasn't going to be a simple battle. Suddenly, Rimuru stopped in his tracks, his gaze locked with Whitebeard's. The tension in the air thickened as if the very world was holding its breath for the upcoming clash. Ultima, Rimuru said with a smirk, looks like we're finally here. Ultima's eyes gleamed with excitement. It's about time. I've been itching for a real fight. With that, both of them launched forward, their advanced armament, observation, and conqueror's haki activated to their fullest potential. The ground beneath them cracked as they propelled themselves toward Whitebeard, a burst of power that sent shockwaves through the battlefield. Whitebeard's commanders, sensing the danger, tried to intervene. But Ultima flicked her wrist, unleashing a wave of conqueror's haki so strong that dozens of pirates collapsed instantly, unconscious before they even hit the ground. Whitebeard's brows furrowed. You too, you're strong. Of course, Rimuru replied casually. But let's skip the pleasantries, shall we? We're here for a fight. Without another word, they charged at Whitebeard. The sound of their clash was deafening. Rimuru's fist, wrapped in black haki, met Whitebeard's Basento with an explosive force. Sparks flew, and the ground beneath them shattered under the pressure. Ultima, with a maniacal grin, leapt in from the side, her armament-infused fist hurtling toward Whitebeard's ribs. But Whitebeard, ever the seasoned warrior, anticipated her attack. He twisted his body, deflecting her blow with his Basento while simultaneously activating his tremor fruit. A massive quake erupted from his weapon, sending tremors rippling through the air. The shockwave hit Ultima head-on, but she gritted her teeth, digging her feet into the ground to withstand the force. Her advanced armament haki shielded her from the worst of it, but the sheer power of Whitebeard's attack was undeniable. You've got some power, old man, Ultima sneered, wiping a trickle of blood from the corner of her mouth. But you'll need more than that to stop me. Whitebeard's eyes narrowed. I've fought stronger people than you, girl. Ultima let out a laugh. We'll see about that. As the battle raged on, Rimuru and Ultima moved with a coordination that could only be forged through years of experience. Rimuru darted forward, aiming a powerful haki-infused kick at Whitebeard's side. Whitebeard, sensing the attack with his advanced observation haki, raised his Basento just in time to block it. The impact sent another shockwave through the battlefield. The air cracked and the ground split open, but neither combatant gave an inch. Whitebeard grunted, his muscles straining as he pushed against Rimuru's kick. Meanwhile, Ultima took advantage of the opening, striking from the opposite side with a barrage of armament haki-imbued punches. Whitebeard spun his Basento around in a wide arc, creating a wall of tremors that forced Ultima and Rimuru to retreat momentarily. His movements were slow but deliberate, every swing carrying the weight of his titanic strength. Old man's tougher than I thought, Rimuru remarked, shaking his hands as if to brush off the strain of their clash. He's not the strongest man in the world for nothing, Ultima responded, a wild grin still plastered on her face. Whitebeard stood tall, his chest rising and falling steadily despite the intensity of their exchange. You two are good, but I've faced worse. Rimuru chuckled. Don't underestimate us, Whitebeard. We're not like the others. Whitebeard's eyes sharpened, the faintest hint of a smile tugging at his lips. Then show me what you've got. And with that, the true battle began. Rimuru dashed forward with inhuman speed, his fist cocked back and cloaked in black lightning. The telltale sign of advanced conqueror's haki. Whitebeard met his charge head-on, swinging his Basento with the full force of his tremor fruit behind it. When their attacks collided, the world itself seemed to tremble. Ultima, not one to be left out, leapt into the fray, her fists coated in armament haki as she launched herself at Whitebeard's flank. She threw a barrage of punches, each one more ferocious than the last, but Whitebeard was no amateur. He anticipated her movements with his advanced observation haki, deflecting her blows with his Basento while simultaneously keeping Rimuru at bay. The battlefield around them was in chaos. Marines and pirates alike were thrown off their feet by the sheer force of their clash. The sky above darkened, as if even the heavens were reacting to the monumental power being unleashed below. Rimuru. Ultima called out between punches, her eyes gleaming with excitement. How about we turn it up a notch? Rimuru grinned, sidestepping a quake-infused swing from Whitebeard. I was thinking the same thing. In an instant, both Rimuru and Ultima pushed their haki to the limit. Their conqueror's haki flared up, creating a tangible pressure in the air that forced weaker combatants to their knees. Even Whitebeard grunted under the weight of their combined power. You too. You've got spirit, Whitebeard muttered, his voice filled with respect but also resolve. He clenched his fist, causing the air around it to crackle with the power of his tremor fruit. But I'm not going down that easily. With a roar, Whitebeard slammed his fist into the ground, sending a massive tremor through the battlefield. The ground erupted in jagged cracks, and buildings crumbled under the force of the quake. Rimuru and Ultima jumped back, narrowly avoiding the destruction. That's some serious power, Rimuru said, impressed. But we're not done yet, Ultima added, her eyes narrowing as she focused on Whitebeard. They launched themselves at Whitebeard once more, their attacks coming faster and harder. Rimuru's advanced armament haki made his strikes feel like a hammer, while Ultima's speed and precision with observation haki allowed her to exploit even the smallest of openings. For every blow Whitebeard blocked, two more slipped past his defenses. Rimuru's fist connected with Whitebeard's ribs, sending a shockwave rippling through his body. Ultima followed up with a devastating punch to his side, the force of which sent Whitebeard staggering backward. But Whitebeard wasn't finished. With a growl, he unleashed a tremor-infused punch that sent both Rimuru and Ultima flying back several meters. They landed on their feet, skidding to a stop, but the sheer power of the blow left them both winded. He's strong, Ultima admitted, wiping blood from her mouth. But so are we, Rimuru responded, his eyes locking onto Whitebeard once more. Whitebeard stood tall, his chest heaving but his eyes still filled with determination. You too? Or something else, he said, his voice tinged with respect. But if you think you can take me down, you'll have to try harder than that. Rimuru's grin broadened. Oh, don't worry. We plan to. With renewed determination, they charged at Whitebeard once more, the ground shaking beneath their feet as the titanic clash continued.